Hi, crafty friends. Are you guys ready for project number one? So I got this snowman figurine when I was out thrifting. It was $1, but it happened to be 50% off the price tag that day. So for 50 cents, we are going to make this over into a really high-end piece of decor for the holidays. So I know you're probably like, Bonnie, why are you painting this black? But I promise you, it's going to turn out really stinking cool. So by that, I mean rub and buff. If you have never used rub and buff before, when you are decorating or doing things to make it over or upcycling like we're doing, you have to try it. So this figurine has a lot of dimension to it, a lot of little spots that are like way in there and lots of indentions. So that's why I'm using the brush. If it was something that was more flat, then I would just put a little bit of rub and buff, boy, words are hard today, on my finger and just wipe it over. But when it's really super porous like this, it's just easier to get in to all those little areas with your paintbrush. So you can go as heavy-handed as you want. I try to start off not so heavy-handed at first, or I kind of don't push down on my brush as hard because, friends, once it's on there, like on there. So you just want to make sure if there's some areas where you're like, I don't want that so heavy right there, just like I said, go lighter when you're pressing down on it, or don't put as much on your brush. So I was kind of testing it at first. Like I thought, oh, the little fur around the hat and his outfit, and then he's holding a package and a Christmas tree. Just kind of see. So I was really just playing with it to see how much I wanted to stick out with this gold. But the more I did, the more I started to love it, because it really shows all that dimension behind there, because you can still see some of that black coming through with the gold on top of it, which love that. Love, love, love. So I really just took my time, had a lot of fun with this. Again, if you're using something that's more, not as porous as this, you don't have to use a paintbrush. You could just put it on your finger. I would definitely suggest gloves though, because it likes to stay on your hands. So that's why I always try to remember to put gloves on so that my hands aren't staying gold for a few days. Ask me how? Yep, I have done it a time or 10. So once you kind of get it the way you want, I actually thought it was done a few times, let it set, went back to it and added some more areas. So just have fun with it. And you could even shop your house. You don't have to go to the thrift store, but look how adorable he turned out. All right, are we ready for two? Project 2, napkin rings. I got these green little napkin rings, and I had this little egg. Watch this. I pushed down a little too hard. Oh, hello, it cracked. What I was looking for in my stash were the Easter eggs, the ones that, like for kids, that come apart. And I wanted to use the bigger part of it. Couldn't find those, so I tried this, and it worked. I just kind of cracked it a little bit, but that's okay. I trimmed it down so it was kind of sort of ish flat, because I thought, ooh, let's make some decorative bells out of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hot glue right around once I get it kind of trimmed off to the edge that I want, or I want the edges to be sitting flat on the napkin ring. And the hot glue is perfectly perfect, because if you guys have ever seen those old bells, like where they weld the metal together, the weld always looks a little crazy. So we can mimic that with the hot glue. So once I got it in place, I added a little bit more hot glue around the edges, and then there's a seam on that. So I put it along the seam as well on the egg. But again, the Easter eggs would work so much better. But hey, in a pinch, when you can't find what you want, you make do. So we're going to get this on there, and then we are going to paint this. We're going to do that same technique that we just did on the snowman. We're going to paint everything black, and then we're going to go over the top with that same color rub and buff. Friends, I was like, is it really going to adhere the way that I want to? And once I started doing it, I was like, oh, yes, please, and thank you. This is going to be perfect. And as I was painting, I was like, oh, I have a little wood piece. We're going to make that like the, what do you call that? Oh, I always forget what you call the center of the bell, the little thing that makes the noise. That's what we're going to use the wood piece for. But here you can see, like I said, since it's kind of slickery and there's not a lot of dimension, I'm just putting that rub and buff on my hand and just working it all the way around the bell. I really want some of this black to come through, so I didn't hit all the areas, but I really highlighted it. And then I was like, okay, that wood piece is not long enough to kind of hang out the end. I love when you see the little whatever that thing is called. Can y'all tell me in the comments? What is the center part of the bell called? But I thought that wood piece would be super cool. So I was like, how am I going to make it do that? So I've got these crazy, beads that are like hexagon shaped. And I thought, ooh, here it is. Let's glue that little wood piece to this. And then we'll glue that inside the bell. And then it will just kind of hang out. And it worked perfectly. So it gave me that little extra bit that I needed there. And then I'm going to add some rope to the top of this. But I thought, man, wouldn't these be cool? You could like decorate a tree or hang them around in garland or even on a tree. But look how adorable it turned out. I just think it's so stinking cute. All right, so project 3, this tarnished vase I got when I was thrifting, and it has little holes in it, right? So I guess like it came with this little glass piece. You could make it like a votive. Well, I thought, let's use it as a base for a Christmas tree. So I'm just going to hot glue this in place. And then I got 3 bags of greenery. They're just like little greenery stems. I don't know if somebody cut a tree apart, and these are just the little bits and pieces. But each bag was $1, and I got it for 50% off. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take 3 bags of that for $1.50. So we're going to use that on here. But first, I got this little moss stuff from the Dollar Tree, and I thought, let's just kind of add some hot glue, smoosh it on there. I wasn't intending on covering all of it, but I thought that would kind of look like the bark on the tree-ish kind of thing. And then what I did once I got all of the greenery on, I went back in spots where I had missed, or if it had come off, I smushed it in there, added some more hot glue and just smushed it in. And so what I want to do with these pieces of the greenery that I'm going to show you here in a minute is, rather than having them stick out, I want them to go down. I love that look, like the droopy trees. Do you know what I'm talking about? The ones that they just look like they're drooping down. I love, love, love that look. So that's what we're going to try to do here. So yes, I know I used a lot of hot glue, but that's okay. It ended up working out fine. If I wasn't going to stick all that other stuff over, the greeneries in there, I would definitely use some of those picks just to kind of hold things in place. But the greenery did it. So I was like, no worries. But holy messy pants. Oh my gosh, I had this stuff everywhere. So definitely make sure if you're doing this, don't do it in your living room or dining table, or you know what I mean. Otherwise, you better put something down because it is super messy. When I got all done with the project, I looked down. I was like, oh, well, look at that. Half of it's on the floor. Yep, I'm a messy crafter. All right, so once we get this done, this is what I was saying. We are just going to start inserting this right into the styrofoam, and it really held nicely. So that was perfect. There was one that I couldn't really get to hold, so I just put a little hot glue on it and then stuck that into the foam, and it stayed really nicely. So you can see those parts up at the top. We'll go back through once we get all of this in and just kind of add some of that dried bits in there. That way we don't see any of that styrofoam sticking through. So here's how this one turned out, friends. I hope you guys enjoyed these. Thank you so much, and follow the page for more.